Ribeiro-Addy.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Now, just because, unlike the last budget, this one hasn't unravelled in 20 minutes and led to panic selling in financial markets, the government shouldn't think that they have vastly redeemed themselves. We now know that the Chancellor's flagship childcare policies will see nurseries going out of business. The fuel duty levy freeze makes a mockery of any commitment to net zero emissions targets. The removal of the cap on pensions pot will hardly affect any consultant doctors at all. Instead, it's a general giveaway to very high earners, and one where they can protect them from inheritance tax to boot. Now, most egregiously of all, there is a £29 billion handout to businesses, the same businesses who are already swimming in profits because of price gouging and profiteering. We know this policy will not boost investment because it has been tried before and it's failed. All of this has a context. The context is the worst fall in living standards in living memory and a wave of industrial disputes that this government has provoked. Minister's response is to claim that there is no money left or that paying public sector workers would be inflationary. But it is the price gouging and the profiteering by firms that is inflationary. And this is not just something that you'd hear me say on a picket line, Mr Deputy Speaker. The Bank for International Settlements' own research says this too. This is the bank, that is the central bank for central banks. So no one has ever been stupid enough to claim that this is a left-wing or radical body. Yet the policy choice that the Chancellor has chosen is very, very simple: to reward those who are responsible for inflation with a multi-billion-pound handout of taxpayers' money, and to punish those struggling with that inflation with derisory and insulting pay offers. The Chancellor decided that there was £29 billion left for the profiteers, but remarkably that there was no money left for inflation-matching pay rises. The sheroes and heroes of the pandemic are meant to get by on claps. He is what we would call a Robin Hood in reverse, stealing from the poor and low-paid and giving it to fat cats, their shareholders and the rich. This is simply repeating the austerity policy that has hobbled this economy ever since 2010. The Resolution Foundation says it has left British workers £11,000 worse off on average. The Office for Budget Responsibility is very clear about the damage it will do to living standards. It says there will be a record fall in living standards over the 2 years to the end of March 2024, and that real household disposable income per person is on course to fall by 5.7% over the next 2 years, the biggest 2-year drop since records began in 1956. There was also nothing in this budget to address the crisis in public services either. In fact, spending on public services as a proportion of GDP is expected to decline in each of the next 5 years. In a stagnating economy, this means real hardship for millions. There are only even more cuts for local authority services too. But, Mr Deputy Speaker, members opposite may be interested to know that I do believe there are 2 areas in which we have seen exponential growth, and those 2 areas are privatisation and deregulation, warmed over Thatcherite nonsense. And if members opposite believe that Thatcherism worked, they are as deluded as some members have pointed out today. What we're going to see is life expectancy falling, growing poverty, rising child hunger, and an increase in the number of food banks. And this particular budget will only ensure that these inequalities continue to grow.